Now that's all that I have on how to ace the Bmat. In this video, I'm going to go through how to approach and hopefully get full marks in the physics part of Bmat Section 2. The reason this is the first Bmat Section 2 subject specific video is because everyone always complains about physics. Not a lot of people do it at A level, and so everyone complains about it, saying that it's really hard and they've not done it for a while. And for this reason, I've got 3 tips to give you. And the reason I have 3 tips is, well, who doesn't love a rule of 3? Hey, I'm Hamzah, a third year medical student at the University of Cambridge, teaching you how to ace the Bmat just like I did, coming in the top 10% of the cohort. So, rule number 1 is don't neglect physics. Whatever you do not neglect physics. If you know your physics well enough, you'll get 100% in the Bmat physics section, and that's because the maths and the concepts behind the physics are not hard at all. Once you have it nailed, they're really easy questions from there. As a result, you'll be at a really bad disadvantage if you do neglect the physics, because scores are plotted on a normal distribution curve, with 5 being in the middle. So if you do drop a lot of marks, which a lot of people do pick up, then you'll drop further down that distribution curve and end up with a bad mark. Bmat themselves say that 5 is average, 6 is what they expect a good candidate to get, and 7 plus is exceptional. Now really you want to be aiming for those 7 plus marks. And to get there you're going to need your Bmat physics. You can't get there without physics. Rule number 2. This is more on how to learn physics. If you're doing A-level physics already, you shouldn't just be complacent and sit back and think, oh, I already know this already. No. The reason why you shouldn't think that is because Bmat have their own specification. So whilst you might be doing AQA A-level physics, someone else might have done OCR GCSE physics, and some of the stuff that they cover in GCSE you might not even cover in A-level, just because the 2 specifications are a little bit different. As a result, Bmat have made their own specification, which you can find on the Bmat website. They then teach this in the Assumed Knowledge Guide, which is a bit chunky, but it's got everything that you need to ace the Bmat. I'll put a link for it in the description below. Now if you don't do physics A-level, then what I found is that most people do have to relearn parts of physics. And that's completely fine because most people are in that category. So you're not at a disadvantage. And neither are the people who do physics at A-level at a huge advantage. Now if you don't like the look of the Assumed Knowledge Guide because number 1 is a written guide, number 2 is quite chunky, then I have a course called the Sigma Med Bmat course, which I'll go into in a little bit more detail at the end. And finally, rule number 3, how to practice Bmat physics. The best way to practice is through past paper questions. There's no substitute for practice, you just need to practice as much as you can. Now with Bmat past paper questions, you have around 19 years worth of past paper questions. Assuming you have around 6 physics questions in each Bmat year, that means you're left with around 120 physics questions to do, which is plenty. Once you know the content, each physics question becomes very formulaic. Now there aren't many things which Bmat tests continually. There are only about 6 or 7 topics which Bmat like to test all the time. And the good thing about the Sigma Med Bmat course is that it goes through each one of these in really good detail. See, we've analysed the last 19 years or so worth of past paper questions, and as a result we've come up with the topics that come up regularly. What we've then done is we've taken the parts from the Assumed Knowledge Guide and we've explained them in greater detail, using videos and diagrams to help explain the content. More information on the Sigma Med Bmat course can be found at sigmamed.co.uk. Now if you have any further questions on the Bmat, please drop me a comment, drop me a DM, and I'll try my best to get back to you as quickly as I can. Now that's all that I have on how to ace the Bmat. If you have any questions, please drop me a DM, drop me a comment, or have a look around at my other videos. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.